Batman is an infamous hero in the DC comic book universe. He's a superhero with a strong moral code. However, his code may not reflect society's views of goodness when compared to the high moral standards of someone such as Superman or Wonder Woman. Batman is the protector of Gotham City. He is the Dark Knight. He will do what needs to be done, even if it may cost him his reputation. Batman has no extraordinary abilities. He relies solely on his wealth and physical strength to combat Gotham's underbelly. These attributes are not always enough for good to prevail, and Batman is placed in a position where he either adheres to Gotham's moral code or bends the law for the good of the city, which he does with no hesitation. DC Comics has created a strong, dark character who often blurs the lines of good and evil, a quality that often gets lost in translation when moving from page to film. However, when Christopher Nolan took up the challenge, his main focus was this intriguing character trait. Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight delves into the line between good and evil and explores how corrupt the lines have become, supporting this through color palette, lighting, and costumes. The Dark Knight, as well as the rest of Nolan's Batman trilogy, is set in the city of Gotham. A once bright and vibrant city has turned into a desolate city overrun with crime. Batman Begins' color scheme mirrors Gotham's situation, deteriorated and feverish. The underworld is slowly taking over the city, corruption, back alley meetings at midnight. It has an orange-brown streetlight tone. The style reflects that of an old film noir, highlighting a key color, but the movie is not in black and white. The Dark Knight's color scheme mirrors Gotham's situation at the beginning of Batman. Even worse. Corruption has now really taken over, crime getting more organized, and the city's heroes becoming its enemies. As the crime moves from the Narrows to downtown Gotham, the color scheme moves from orange-brown streetlight to urban downtown blue. The blue accentuates the shadows and depravity of Gotham. Even when the sun is out, the streets of Gotham are still covered in darkness. The film's color palettes reflect the nature of the villain in each movie. The orange-brown streetlight for the Scarecrow and blue for the Joker. The color that surrounds the Scarecrow is unsophisticated, yet still gives the movie the feeling of an old-school detective film, whereas the Joker has the more sophistication to be the mastermind that could potentially lead to the demise of Gotham. Blue reveals the darkness that surrounds the Joker and shows the duality of man by consistently keeping Gotham in the same tone as the villain. The Joker is trying to turn the people of Gotham against each other just for his own amusement, and the color places the average citizens in the same perspective seen as the mobsters and gangs. The blue casts the entire city and its inhabitants in the shadows, depicting just how far the city's corruption has gone. Nolan effectively uses lighting and shadows to reflect the sinister tone of the situation. Characters such as Batman are cast in full or partial shadow, showing the duality of his personality, the Dark Knight. In the beginning of the movie, Harvey Dent is cast in a pure, clean light without shadow. The light reflects the good, as he is known as Gotham's White Knight. As the story progresses, the Joker pushes Dent farther to the edge, and Dent snaps and is brought to the same level of those he despises. It's because of the Joker that Dent has become Harvey Two-Face. In the transformation, the lighting for Dent changes too. He is now cast in the same shadows as Batman. The shadows follow them, never letting them escape. Casting these characters in the shadow is Nolan's way of showing their struggle to maintain their good side rather than giving in to evil. The shadows represent their duality in personality. It places the characters in the shadows because it shows the fracture of the personality. They may be good, but they have darkness inside them. Some characters have it more prevalent than others. The Joker, on the other hand, has no consistent lighting. He is placed in complete shadow, partial, or none. The Joker has no plan and no conscience. He wants to cause mayhem just because he can. Having the Joker in sporadic light and shadows creates the feeling of unease and inconsistency because you have no idea what he might do next. Costumes play a major role in the film. They provide insight and add another layer to the personality of the characters. They also reflect the fractured line of good and evil. Batman, the good guy of the story, is always in black. No matter if it's Bruce Wayne or Batman, he's always dressed in black, the color of death. Yet Joker, who is vicious and ruthless, is dressed in bright purple and green and has bright makeup to look like he's always smiling. The Joker's suit is tattered and his makeup smeared over his scars, but his appearance would seem to have more of the bright happiness that a typical superhero would have. And likewise, Batman has the dark clothing of a villain. The clothing for Dent also reflects his moral standing before and after he becomes Two-Face. When Dent is still Gotham's White Knight, he dresses impeccably, always neat in a suit and tie. When Dent becomes Two-Face, half of his suit is perfect and unscathed, but the other half is melted and charred. The death of Rachel fractures Dent's psyche. He still has the belief of what is good and fair, but his moral compass has changed. He is now willing to suspend his beliefs in the name of what he believes is fair. His suit reflects the duality of his personality. He still has the goodness inside of him, but the other half of his psyche still wants revenge for what happened to Rachel. The Joker's colorful costume depicts his sporadic personality and proves further that he only has the drive to cause mayhem. The color breaks the rules of the typical bad guy attire. Whereas Batman and Dent both have costumes that show the duality of man and reflect that, no matter how supposedly good they may be, they each have a dark side. Good and evil are no longer depicted in the same black and white manner. Over time, lines have become hazy, and what was once considered good or bad is no longer. Christopher Nolan effectively uses color palette, lighting, and costume to explore these blurred lines of good and evil. The Dark Knight effectively brings to light the lack of definite good or evil. No one in The Dark Knight has a pure concept of what is right and wrong, further proving Nolan's point that we are no longer at a place where everything is as simple as black and white.